There is a type of person in this life who makes others feel sympathy, pity, and helplessness all at once, unsure of how to comfort them. They are the kind of people who are always hardworking, always diligent, always serious about everything they do. Yet in the end, they are still the ones who repeatedly taste failure. They are not lazy. They do not give up. They are not the type to live carelessly, superficially, or depend on luck. On the contrary, they are the ones who wake up earlier than others, come home later than others, work more than others, and endure more patiently than others. And yet life still seems unwilling to favor them. The rewards they receive are always smaller than the effort they put in. The doors they keep knocking on never open. The opportunities they wait for so long still keep falling into someone else's hands. This is a type of person you can easily come across. It may be a man who works from morning until night taking care of his family with all his sense of responsibility, yet his finances remain strained and his life remains unstable. It may be a woman who toils tirelessly, sacrificing her youth to hold everything together only to receive exhaustion and scarcity in return. It may also be a young person who always studies hard, always tries harder than their friends. Yet when stepping into life, they keep stumbling, walking, and walking without ever finding the place they deserve. These are the kinds of people whom everyone judging only by their attitude toward life assumes will succeed sooner or later. But ironically, life does not work in such a simple way. The greatest pain for this kind of person is not only failure itself. The greatest pain is that they do not know where they went wrong. If a lazy person fails, they can still blame themselves for not trying hard enough. If a careless person fails, they can still see that the reason lies in their own negligence. But for those who are always hardworking and diligent, their failure is what truly lingers, because they have already done almost everything an ordinary person could possibly do. They have been more patient than necessary. They have tried to the point where there was no way back, and yet the result still does not change. It feels like standing in the middle of a barren field, sowing seeds, watering and nurturing it diligently every day, yet never seeing a single green sprout emerge. Worse still is looking to either side and seeing others sow less than you, care less than you, and yet their harvests are abundant. People like that often live very quietly. They are not used to complaining. They are not good at blaming circumstances either. They have a very sad habit. When they fail, they almost always return to blaming themselves first. They think maybe they are not good enough. Maybe they are not persistent enough. Maybe they have not done things the right way. Maybe they still lack something others have. And so they keep trying, even harder. When others are tired, they rest. When these people are tired, they keep going. When others are rejected a few times, they change direction. When these people are rejected dozens of times, they still tell themselves they must persevere. When others see life as unfair, they at least know how to feel anger. But these people often just swallow it in silence. They are afraid of becoming weak. They are afraid that if they complain, all their efforts so far will become meaningless. So they endure quietly. But it is precisely that quiet endurance that makes their pain deeper. Because there are failures that do not kill a person immediately, but erode them little by little every day. One failure may be just a stumble. 2 or 3 failures in a row begin to turn into doubt. And when a person has gone through too many failures, despite always being hardworking, they gradually lose the most important thing of all, faith in themselves. They begin to look at other people's success with eyes full of both admiration and bitterness. They begin to suspect that perhaps effort was never meant for them. Perhaps life was never fair. Perhaps some people are born having to struggle more, suffer more, and try harder just to gain a tiny fraction of what others consider normal. What makes these people pitiful is that they do not have the luxury of collapsing freely, because life often places too many responsibilities on their shoulders. Precisely because they are hardworking, others depend on them. Precisely because they are diligent, everyone takes their sacrifices for granted. A man who always tries is expected to be even stronger. A woman who is always devoted is expected to endure even more. A dutiful child, a dedicated employee, a responsible father, a caring mother. All of these roles invisibly turn them into people who are not allowed to admit they are tired. They are like the pillar of a house. Even when cracked, they still have to stand still. Because if they lean just a little, everything behind them may collapse. What is even more heartbreaking is that society often does not have enough patience to understand this kind of person. People readily praise those who succeed after much effort, because that is a beautiful story. But very few are gentle enough to look at a person who has tried so hard and still has not succeeded. People like lessons such as long as you work hard, you will be rewarded, because they are neat, positive, and easy to believe. But real life is not always like that. Some people work hard all their lives and still remain stuck. Some people are not lacking in ability at all. It is just that the timing is wrong. The circumstances are unfavorable. The starting point is too low, or life has simply tested them too harshly. In those moments, advice like "just try harder" no longer sounds encouraging, but becomes a cruel burden. Because for this kind of person, the problem is not that they are unwilling to try. The problem is that they have already tried until they are nearly exhausted. What they lack may not be willpower, but an opportunity. Not determination, but a helping hand at the right moment. Not more diligence, but a more suitable path. But ironically, those things are not entirely within human control. That is why so many decent people, so many responsible people, so many resilient people still live difficult, struggling lives. Not because they are unworthy, but because life does not always reward people in the fair way we hope it will. And yet what makes this kind of person more precious than many others lies in one thing. Even in failure, they do not easily become bitter or corrupted. They may be exhausted, silent, or lost, but deep inside, they still preserve a part of their goodness. They still want to do what is right. They still want to live decently. They still want to rely on their own strength rather than stepping on others. In a world where many people choose shortcuts, cunning, or exploitation in order to get ahead, their diligence and hard work are like a quiet kind of light. It may not be dazzling. It may not make them stand out, but it makes them truly decent human beings. That is why their failures trouble us even more deeply, because we always want to believe that good people will be repaid, that effort will be recognized, that perseverance will eventually reach the destination. But only when we grow up do we understand that life does not always operate according to that moral logic. Some people sow good seeds and reap sweet fruit, but some people pour out endless sweat and still pass through season after season empty-handed. That truth is not beautiful, but it is real. And because it is real, it forces us to look at life with greater generosity. When we meet someone who is always hardworking yet still keeps failing, what they need is not hollow lectures. They do not need to hear "just try a little harder" when their whole life has already been built on trying. They also do not need to be compared to inspirational success stories, as if not succeeding yet simply means they have not worked hard enough. What they often need is just one person who understands that they are tired. One person willing to acknowledge that they have truly tried. One person who does not look at them as a loser, but as a human being straining to survive a harsh phase of life. There are moments when being understood can save a person more than any piece of advice. But it also cannot be denied that if they are not careful, This type of person can easily fall into the tragedy of stubbornness. Because they are so used to believing in the value of hard work, they sometimes keep charging into the wrong direction without daring to change. They think perseverance means trying more, then forevermore. And yet some repeated failures are not there to teach us to be more resilient, but to force us to stop and look again. Sometimes it is not that they have not tried hard enough, but that they are trying in the wrong place. Sometimes what they need is not to do more, but to pause and understand themselves more clearly. But hardworking people are often afraid of stopping because they think stopping means losing. That is one of the greatest tragedies of all. They equate rest with laziness, changing direction with giving up, and vulnerability with failure. In truth, maturity is not only about gritting your teeth and enduring. Maturity is also about knowing when to let go of a path that no longer suits you. It is knowing how to admit that some things will never belong to you, no matter how hard you try. It is knowing that a person's worth is not measured only by the results they achieve. A hardworking person who has not yet succeeded is still not useless. A diligent person who remains trapped in hardship is still not a complete failure. Success reflects only a very small part of life. Character, courage, kindness, patience, and the ability to rise again after being beaten down are what truly shape the depth of a human being. Perhaps what hurts this kind of person the most is that they are rarely recognized. Before they succeed, what they do is often seen as ordinary. Only when they achieve something visible do people turn around and praise their resilience. But not everyone gets the chance to reach a destination grand enough for society to acknowledge. Does that mean all their years of quiet effort are meaningless? No, absolutely not. Every day they refuse to give up is a victory. Every time they are knocked down, but still keep their kindness, is a victory. Every morning they keep working, even after a sleepless night under pressure, is a victory. These victories may not be loud. No one may clap for them, but they prove something profoundly important. They are still living with resilience. And sometimes in a world that values results too much, that quiet resilience is the noblest thing of all, because not everyone can do it. Many people are only kind when life is easy on them. Many people are only hardworking when hope is clearly visible. But the kind of person who keeps working hard despite failure is fighting under much harsher conditions. They have to keep trying, even when they are no longer sure they will ever be rewarded. They keep working even while filled with doubt inside. They keep walking even without knowing what lies at the end of the road. They keep carrying responsibilities even when deep down they themselves only wish someone would hold them up for once. Perhaps we should learn to look at these people with more love. Do not rush to judge a person simply because they have not achieved anything remarkable yet. Do not assume a difficult life means a person is incapable. Behind their ordinary appearance may lie a long history of effort, patience, sacrifice, and endurance. Some people seem unremarkable at first glance, but in truth, they are fighting a very great battle with life itself. And the fact that they are still standing there, still living decently, still not making others suffer because of their own pain, is already something worthy of deep respect. In the end, the kind of person who is always hardworking yet still fails in life is not a symbol of weakness. They are the symbol of a very human kind of sorrow. They remind us that life is not divided simply into black and white, into success and failure. There are vast gray areas where people are still trying, still living, still holding on to their dignity amid endless collisions. They may not have reached the finish line, but that does not make their journey meaningless, because sometimes the greatest meaning of a human being does not lie in how far they go, but in how they keep walking when life is not easy at all. And if you are exactly that kind of person, someone who is always hardworking, always diligent, yet still has not achieved what you long for today, then please remember one thing. The fact that you have not succeeded yet does not mean all your efforts have been in vain. Some seeds sprout very late. Some sweet harvests come only after many years of rain and sun. And there are also people who never become winners by society's standards yet remain among the most admirable human beings because they lived wholeheartedly, lived honestly, lived kindly, and never gave up in the face of hardship. Sometimes that alone is already of immense value.